1980s was a great decade to be alive in. Technology was
I've
starting
heard.
to take us till
Wait,
today.
every time I look at the 1980s, man, these hairstyles just stand out, man. Just the Aquanet hairspray hairstyles and the mullets.
Even if you did not have a projector
Right.
in your household, then I bet you
That's
ran
different.
into one at school or work. I'm
Yeah.
sure that kids today would not understand why we had them, but they really were pretty exciting.
I do know. I feel like there's projectors are making some sort of a comeback. There's now like this new wave of projectors now that like you can just beam onto your wall, and that's like now a thing. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but I definitely know in my peripheral, like in my Gen Z space, people are talking about projectors getting. Alright guys, so the very first time today I'm going to be checking out forgotten items in 1980s homes. This is coming from Relative History, guys. Look, the channel that we're very familiar with on this channel. Definitely consider checking out the original video link in the description if you want to see this whole video in its entirety without me skipping or pausing or talking through it. This was going to be really interesting as well because I've checked out some 1980s vlogs. I've seen some homes in the 1980s. Shout out to you guys if you haven't seen that nostalgic my nostalgic vlog series. I'll definitely recommend checking it out. So, but yeah, it's been really interesting to kind of get an insight into what these houses would have looked like from how different like the furniture was. The walls always seem to be like designed with some tacky designs. Well, I say tacky just because I'm comparing it to the more simplistic ones of nowadays. But I'm really excited to set this one out, man. Maybe there's some things in here that may bring some memories out of you guys. Yeah, guys, as always, some of you guys may not be aware I'm doing some bonus exclusive reactions that I cannot post on here. Anywhere from album reviews, movie reactions, sitcom watch parties, as well as all the general videos that I cannot post on it because YouTube is getting a lot more, sensitive these days. So yeah, look, if you guys want to get that extra dose of nostalgia as well as a Gen Z perspective and a lot of the classics I'll be showing you guys on the screen and more, then definitely consider checking out the Patreon link in the description below. Like I always say, guys, it'll be a great way to support the channel, guys, if you guys love my content, as well as all the usuals. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you don't miss none of these videos, and like the video, and let me know what other things you guys would like for your fellow Gen Zer to check out. But with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Let's go.
1980s was a great decade to be alive in. Technology was starting to take us in a direction that many of us couldn't quite see. But life was pretty simple.
Look at these pictures.
Just busy living our lives and trying to keep up with the latest trends. As time has passed, it's easy to forget about some of the things that we love. In this video, we will have a look back at some of the forgotten items from 1980s homes. Most people today.
Every time I look at the 1980s, man, these hairstyles just stand out, man. Just the Aquanet hairspray hairstyles and the mullets. That's just what I think of. Or I've even seen the Jerry curls as well. You know what I'm saying, on the other side of it. This is just hairstyles back then were the best. I loved it. Bring them back.
Most people today get their favorite recipes on the internet through various websites.
Right.
But if you're old enough, then I'm sure you can remember a time when that wasn't always the case.
Right.
Many households used to have cookbooks, and Betty Crocker was probably the most popular one. But a lot of people stored the recipes of their most cherished dishes in little decorated wooden boxes.
Wow.
Usually these were the family recipes that had been passed down for generations, and they were written on little index cards. There's no doubt that a lot of these online sources are probably pulling from someone's recipe box.
Oh wow. That's an interesting way to look at it as well, considering where a lot of those ones came from. But like, what if the handwriting was really bad? And like, what if like one freak? I would love to know if any of you guys at home are watching this, or wherever you're watching this, have some recipes that you guys used to cook when you were younger. Let me know what kind of things you was cooking, or you remember having, because I would love to know what kind of things you guys were eating back then, man. Like, I've heard some stuff.
Probably pulling from someone's recipe box. Many households today may not even have a clock on the wall thanks to how prevalent cell phones are. But in the 80s, every household had at least one clock to look at. There were all sorts of clocks that adorned the walls and shelves, but one of the more popular ones that could be seen were the dome clocks.
Dome clocks?
These often gold timepieces had little balls that would spin back and forth at the bottom, and they were quite mesmerizing.
Oh, wow.
These clocks were really fancy looking and we could spend hours just staring at them.
Yeah, they do look fancy.
You can still buy these today, but they are not as popular as they were in the 80s.
Really? Why though? These look so cool. It looks like something I would see in like a Harry Potter, movie, just on a wall or something, flying in the air. Like, they look so fancy. Like, what, next to the macrame owl or whatever you guys had back in the day, that for some of these houses. That owl still creeps me out, man. Just hovering over the shag carpet. You guys know the vibes.
Buy these today, but they are not as popular as they were in the 80s.
Man. Lego stuck in the carpet.
Slide projectors were something that many households had. And really, they were just sort of a holdover from previous decades, but they were still just as popular in the 80s. Projectors became a lot less popular in the 1990s when computers and digital frames came in.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all got suckered into viewing a friend or family member's slideshow that was from their vacation. We kind of had to suffer through it because later on we were going to make them sit through ours. Even if you did not have a projector in your household, then I bet you ran into one at school or work. I'm sure that kids today would not understand why we had them, but they really were pretty exciting.
Yeah, you know what? Funnily enough, I definitely think Gen Alpha and Gen Beta that just arrived on the block with this New Year's. This is probably the 2025 the start of Gen Beta. Oh my gosh, Gen Z are getting old. Oh my lord, how am I like the third youngest generation technically? But either way, projectors had them in school. I do know. I feel like there's projectors are making some sort of a comeback. There's now like this new wave of projectors now that like you can just beam onto your wall, and that's like now a thing. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but I definitely know in my peripheral, like in my Gen Z space, people are talking about projectors, getting projectors instead of TV screens, because you can make them even bigger on your walls and stuff. Just for you guys that love projectors, man. So just maybe some of you guys might be happy to hear that if you don't know about it already. But look, projectors might be making a comeback.
Kids today would not understand why we had them, but they really were pretty exciting.
I know about projectors.
Remember when toilet paper came in different colors?
Oh, wow.
This was really popular in the 70s and 80s, but it is definitely not something that you see anymore.
I've never seen colored paper
Back
like
then,
that.
Toilet paper came in blue, green, yellow, pink, and some even had floral patterns.
That looks fun.
It was the perfect way to colorize your bathroom or coordinate with the colors that you already had in there.
Yeah, that looks great.
The dyes that were used in this colored toilet paper were not that good for females, and eventually companies stopped making it.
Oh, that's why. I was gonna say, like, what stopped the colors? Because the dye in it, what inside was not good for females? The dye? Oh, I think it said dye.
The dyes that were used in this colored toilet paper were not that good for females, and eventually companies stopped making it.
Okay, no wonder. The girls ruined it.
Another item that we used to see in bathrooms of many homes were the knitted toilet roll covers. These were usually dolls that had a knitted dress which would cover a roll of toilet paper. Why did we do that?
Yeah, why?
Not sure, other than just because we could.
What? Who?
Surely it was not because we wanted to hide the colored toilet paper.
Okay, that's interesting. They look cool though.
Something else that became popular in the 80s was the Glade Spin Fresh, and it started appearing in bathrooms everywhere beginning in 1983. These were toilet paper roll holders that had little scented beads in them. Whenever someone used some toilet paper, it would spin the roll and emit a scented fragrance in the air. A lot of people love them, but today people prefer some sort of aerosol poop spray.
Stop. Do you know that does sound? At first I was like, okay, now it seems like in the 80s people were doing too much for their toilets. I mean, I say too much compared to what I'm seeing now. So to be fair, that's probably normal. But yeah, that sounds interesting. What you roll the toilet paper and then it sprays out like a little scent. That sounds interesting, man. I want to try one of those.
Emit a scented fragrance in the air. A lot of people love them, but today people prefer some sort of aerosol poop spray.
Oh yeah, because you just have air freshener now, right?
Cassette tape cabinets were something that everyone had in the 80s.
You didn't have that back?
In that decade, we all had a lot of cassette tapes and VHS tapes.
Right.
Both of those items took up a lot of space.
Wow.
And these little storage cabinets were a great way to organize our collection so that we could show it all off to our friends and family.
Never seen this before. But it makes sense.
Do you remember these little tables that would fit
Cassettes
underneath each other like Russian dolls? They were the perfect space-saving item for any living room, and if you happen to have company or need an extra table, then boom, it's right there. Kids also love these because they could pull them out during Saturday morning cartoons and consume their favorite sugary cereals on top.
Oh, I know some of you guys are doing that. And I didn't realize these would have been popular. But let me know if you guys can relate to that one specifically. Saturday morning commercials combined with your sugary cereals that are great for nutrition, as they always say. Yeah, man, like that. And I've checked out a few Saturday morning commercials, and there's so many sugary cereals. There's so many. Like, why would there's in the 80s, cereal companies were taking the Mickey? They were doing the most. They had so many. If you think of it, it was probably a cereal. They had cereals on everything.
The 1980s was all about collecting things, and this style of shelf was used to display all of your miniature items that you had accumulated. People filled them with whatever they were interested in, and it also made gift giving easy. Just buy something small for someone, and then the next time you came over, you could see it on this shelf.
That's cute. That's cute. One bad knock, though.
Item that was in many homes.
One bad knock, and all those gifts are falling down. These look like the type of gifts as well that'll break. I don't know if they're all made out of plastic. Let me know if you guys had that. I've never seen that before. Wow. Looks interesting.
Another collectible item that was in many homes were the frosted glass animals. They could be anything from hummingbirds to cats and everything in between. It seemed like people just couldn't get enough of them.
They could melt.
Decorative geese was something else that
those can't have actually have been frosted, but like they look cool though. Also kind of creepy.
Decorative geese was something else that flew into 80s homes. Many people had goose plates, glasses, pictures, figurines, and so much more. All of this seemed to be in the same sort of style. White geese with ribbons and blue accenting it.
Okay, interesting. Interesting goose.
One other type of dish that
I've seen that before
homes were the blue willow pottery ones. This style could be on plates, bowls, coffee cups, and vases.
Oh, wow.
It was like blue overload in many homes.
No, the reason why I just reacted like that to it is because when I do these videos, sometimes it makes me look at the things that I remember seeing younger, like with my Gen X parents and the things that they had differently. My parents had this. And I think it probably would have been something that my grandma gave to my mum. And then my mum kept. Because she doesn't have any more. It was only like one. But we had a bowl just like this. And I remember looking at it going, what is that? Like, why is it? I don't know what it was, what sort of brainwashing I was going on with like a lot of Gen Zers. But I just didn't like the fact they had so much designs on it. Or it looked so like, decorative. Like I just preferred the simple straight ones. Then again, man, like this is interesting. These videos make me look at my parents differently, man. I feel like things are starting to make a bit more sense.
This style could be on plates,
and I appreciate it a bit more.
Cups and vases. It was like blue overload in many homes.
Blue overload. Okay.
If there were kids in the house during the 80s, then you probably saw some sort of cartoon bedspread. There were many different kinds to choose from, but some of the more popular ones were Care Bears, G.I. Joe, Rainbow Bright, Transformers, Strawberry Shortcake, and He-Man.
What is Star Wars?
If the kids were really lucky, then they probably had sheets and curtains to match.
Yeah, Star Wars is probably more of a 70s thing, because I thought he was going to say Star Wars in here as well. Because I know that was popular around the 70s, not?
Really lucky, then they probably had sheets and curtains to match.
I had a Spider-Man when I was young. I feel like Gen Z, there's a lot of Gen Z. We had a lot of Marvel characters, or like Ben 10, some more like modern day ones. But I feel like I remember when I was having something similar when I was young. I think my sister had a Bratz doll one. I'm gonna expose my sister. She had a Bratz doll cover. I had Spider-Man.
Something that people have enjoyed, but today it is much different. Many people have Keurigs or order their coffee from places like Starbucks. But in the 80s, we had big, bulky coffee makers in the kitchen that had clocks on them.
Wow.
People would prepare the coffee maker the night before so that it would automatically make it and have it ready to drink in the morning. If it was a really expensive model, then it would have a radio on it.
Oh, radio, wow.
And when we say coffee, we mean a whole pot of coffee, not just a single cup.
Huh. Wow, a whole pot.
Something else that was popular in the 80s were the black and white TVs. Most of them were holdovers from the previous decades, but they still worked, so we did not get rid of them.
Come on, tell me that doesn't look like a microwave. Please, how does that not look like a microwave? Look, this literally just like the thing you turn on your microwave to dial it up so it lasts longer. All you need is just like a handle somewhere here, and I promise you it's the same thing. This looks like the screen you put your food in. Sorry. Like when I see these, I keep getting them mixed up with microwaves.
Holdovers from the previous decades, but they still work.
Tell me, you guys see it too, right?
Rid of them.
I can't be the only one.
These were still sold in stores. They were the perfect television for your kitchen, and if you had one in your room as a kid, then it was probably black and white.
Wow.
The main TV in the house was always in the living room, and it was color, of course.
Wow. I can't remember. No, not even can't remember. I never experienced watching something in black and white, so that would have been an interesting one. I wonder how you guys reacted to when you could now start watching things in color on a regular basis. That would have been interesting. But yeah, man, black and white, never experienced that before.
And it was color, of course.
Only when I would go back in time and check these videos out.
Some households had computers, but for the most part, they were fairly expensive, so they weren't all that common.
Right.
Not everyone understood the need of having one, since this was before the days of everyone having internet at home. But one thing that was more common to see at home was the electric typewriter. A few people had the old mechanical ones, but the electrical ones made us feel fancy. Both were fun to play around with until you broke them. At that point, we just blamed it on someone else.
Okay.
The 1980s was certainly an...
This thing here kind of reminds me of like a printer with a keyboard on it. Like that's what this... If I had to guess what this was, no context, I would not guess... Nah, actually, I probably wouldn't say printer, but this top part maybe would make me think it's kind of like a printer. But shout out to the typewriters out there, man.
The 1980s was certainly an interesting decade. Some of these items may seem a little bit goofy to those that never lived in the decade, but for many of us, that's not the case. We have a lot of special memories associated with these items. What were some of the things that you noticed in 1980s households?
All right, guys, that one was really interesting and insight. Majority of those things I didn't realize. It seems like the toilets have changed quite a bit when it comes to like the 80s, like trendy stuff. Look, let me know if this brings out any memories for you guys. Let me know if you found this relatable. Maybe you guys had some other things or you couldn't relate to this one as much. I'd love to know how this one impacted you in the comments below. I love finding out what you guys have to say about these kinds of videos, and just how true it was. But yeah, for me, checking these out, like, it's just interesting stuff, man. Some of these, like the toilet paper, okay, I see why they're not doing it anymore because the dye was bad for women. But I would have liked to see some colored toilet paper. I think it really works for some, getting creative with some of the decor in your household and your bathroom. Like, I feel like that really works. And I just was thinking, like, yeah, like, why is it always white? Like, it would make sense if people was doing it different colors, but I see why not now. I think, at least. But yeah, this was really interesting to see a lot of these things, the TVs, whatnot. It seems like a lot of them were forgotten because they kind of just, didn't really see much of a use for it anymore. But yeah, guys, let me know if any of you guys had a choice to bring back some of these items. What would you bring back and why? And if you'd bring back anything at all from the 80s, or maybe a lot of you guys prefer the way households are looking now. Or let me even know if some of you guys still have any of these items in here. We'd love to know that in the comments below. Leave me at this point, or as always, comment down a blue hearts. I know who my real ones are. Who made this point about just clicking off the video. Look, or hashtag flexer for all of my non-emoji know how to do emojis uses. I don't know why I said it like that. But look, I don't discriminate on this channel. I know some of you guys are still struggling. Maybe some boomers out there don't even know what emojis are to this day. And you've been watching me for a while now. But no, guys, look, of course, don't forget to like the video before you head on out. Look, if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, as always, I've got a playlist that'll be linked at the end of the video. And as always, guys, look, I've been your boy JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.